captive of the savage alpha.
Elora has seen plenty of wolves in her life, but never like the four that burst into her cottage at dusk, their eyes dark with purpose, their bodies radiating a predatory energy that almost steals her breath. She tries to fight. She hurls a wooden stool at the first intruder, aims a kick at the second, but it's useless. They're too quick, too focused. Her fists connect with nothing but the cold night air, and then rough hands clamp around her arms and yank her outside. She has no idea why they've come. There's no time to gather her bearings or even scream for help. They drag her through the village streets, ignoring onlookers who cower in doorways. She can taste blood in her mouth, and it's only when they reach the perimeter that she notices the carriage waiting, flanked by two more wolves with that same coiled aggression. One of them leers at her, beckoning the others to hurry. The moment they shove her inside, the door slams shut, and she realizes they don't intend to kill her here. The carriage lurches into motion, wheels grinding over dirt and stone. Elora's heart stutters, every instinct urging her to leap from the moving cage, but hands keep her pinned. An older wolf on her right, a grizzled scar across his jaw, and a lanky one on her left who won't meet her eyes. She tries to push them away, but they only tighten their grip. She wants to scream, to lash out, but something about the older wolf's gaze warns her that defiance is useless right now. So she bites her tongue, forced to endure every jolt of the ride, mind whirling with questions she can't begin to answer. Who are they? Why her? By the time the carriage finally stops, the moon hangs high, silvering the world with eerie light. The older wolf hauls her out, and what meets her eyes is a large compound, tall walls of rough-hewn stone, heavy gates that groan open. Torches flicker on ramparts, and the swirl of silhouettes above suggests more guards than she can count. It looks more like a fortress than a packed settlement. She's marched through the courtyard, boots scraping over uneven cobblestones. Several wolves pause in their duties to stare, and she hears whispers. That's her? The chosen one. Alpha's orders. She's the one. Elora's pulse beats against her skull. She tries to make sense of it, but nothing fits. Her mind keeps looping back to the same panicked refrain. She's been kidnapped. For what? They haul her into a dim corridor, the walls damp with age, the smell of earth clinging to every stone. Down one hall, then another, until a thick door is unlocked, and Elora is shoved inside a small room that reeks of old straw. A single torch on the wall casts a wavering glow. The door slams behind her, bolts slide shut, and the heavy footsteps recede. She stands there, chest heaving, fists clenched. If she cries, no one will help. If she screams, maybe someone will come, but it could just make things worse. She wills herself to breathe. She's not dead. They haven't harmed her beyond forcing her here. There must be a reason. Her mind turns back to those half-heard whispers, the chosen one. The Alpha's orders. A chill prickles her spine. No bed, no chair, no comfort in this makeshift cell. She paces, counting each step to calm her racing thoughts. She won't let them break her. She's always been strong, or at least stronger than she looks. She'll survive this, find her moment to escape. She whispers a vow to herself. They will regret taking her. Time crawls. Hours maybe, or it could be half the night. Now and again, she hears movement outside, the scratch of footsteps, distant voices. She dozes on the floor, back against the wall, but never truly sleeps. Each rustle from the corridor jolts her awake with new fear. Eventually, the door creaks open again. A wolf stands there, a bulky guard with a lantern that reveals a face carved from stone. "Get up," he says, voice flat. "You'll come quietly." She debates fighting, but she's stiff from hours on the cold floor. He gestures with a club that hangs from his belt, not exactly threatening, but letting her see it. She rises, chin high, not speaking. She'll observe, glean whatever advantage she can. He leads her through a maze of hallways lit by torches that spit and flare. At one turn, she glimpses an open courtyard through an archway. Wolves spar in the early dawn light, bare-chested men, tall and lean, shifting on the balls of their feet. She catches the faint smell of sweat and fur, and it turns her stomach to realize that these men can transform. Wolves. Real wolves. The legends swirl in her brain. She'd heard stories, but never truly believed in them, not until tonight. Her guard keeps a firm hand on her arm, guiding her into a large, rough-hewn chamber. Sturdy chairs line the walls, and at the far side stands a battered wooden table. The only exit is the door they entered through. She tries to step back, but the guard shoves her forward. Another figure emerges from the shadows, a middle-aged wolf with a cunning glint in his eye. He looks her up and down, then nods to the guard. "Leave her. I'll handle the rest." The guard obeys, shutting the door behind him. Elora is left facing this new wolf, heart pounding so hard it hurts. She squares her shoulders, refusing to appear weak. He smirks. "Elora, is it?" She doesn't answer, but he doesn't seem to mind. "You've no doubt wondered why you're here. We overheard you were somewhat spirited during your abduction." Her anger sparks. "Call it what it is, kidnapping." His smirk grows. "I'm Devin, beta of this pack. The alpha will see you soon. For now, you'll remain under my watch." Any attempts to cause trouble, he trails off, the meaning clear. She scans the room for something, anything that could be a weapon, but there's nothing but shadows and solid walls. "Why me?" she demands, voice trembling with suppressed rage. "I'm no one special." A flicker of something crosses Devin's face, like mild amusement. "You were chosen for a reason. Soon enough, the alpha will explain." Elora opens her mouth to retort, but a knock at the door cuts her short. A different guard enters, leaning in to whisper something to Devin. The beta nods, then gestures for Elora to follow. She stiffens, half tempted to dig in her heels. But the thought of that club from earlier lurks in her mind. She has no illusions about how easily they could subdue her. For now, she'll cooperate until she finds a better chance. Devin leads her into a corridor that seems more lavish, decorated sconces, high ceilings. She can smell faint incense, a stark contrast to the dank passages she traveled before. They reach a set of double doors carved with swirling wolf motifs. Two guards stand on either side, each bristling with tension. At Devin's nod, they open the doors, revealing a wide chamber bathed in torchlight and dominated by a long table piled with maps, documents, and remnants of a half-eaten meal. More wolves linger around it, but they step back when Elora enters, as if making space. And there he is. Rylan, the alpha. She recognizes him instantly, though she's never laid eyes on him before. It's in the way he stands, straight-backed, arms folded across his chest, a mantle of authority draped over him like a second skin. His hair is dark, cropped in a way that emphasizes the cut of his jaw. Across his cheek is a faint scar, not disfiguring, but telling. He turns, and his gaze lands on her with piercing interest. Her breath hitches. She expected a monster, a beast in human shape. And maybe he is that. The power emanating from him is tangible, a current that prickles her skin. His stare roams over her, assessing, unwavering, but not leering. She clenches her fists, determined not to show fear. Devin steps forward, clearing his throat. "Alpha, I've brought her." Rylan lifts a hand in acknowledgement, but his eyes remain locked on Elora. The other wolves in the room shift uncomfortably, as though they sense a charged current between them. Elora's heart skitters, and she hates that. She doesn't want to feel anything but anger for this man who orchestrated her kidnapping. She braces for threats, for some vile proposition. Instead, he inclines his head. "Elora," he says, voice low. "Welcome to my territory." "Welcome," she echoes, a hollow laugh slipping free. "You abduct me and call it a welcome?" A flash of something regret, frustration, flickers across his features, so brief she almost doubts she saw it. "The circumstances are unfortunate," he says evenly. "But you're here now. That's all that matters." Her fury sparks anew. All that matters to whom? Certainly not to me. One corner of his mouth lifts, more grimace than smile. "You'll come to understand soon enough." She doesn't want to understand anything. She wants to find a sharp blade and bury it in his chest. She wants to run. She wants to wake up from this nightmare. Instead, she stands rooted by the weight of his gaze, while the other wolves hang back, observing. She glances around for some sign of sympathy, but their faces are carefully neutral. Rylan exhales, waving a hand to dismiss them. "Devon, out! All of you!" There's a moment of hesitation, but then they file out. The doors close, leaving Elora alone with the Alpha. Her pulse kicks harder. This is it, where he demands something unspeakable, where she must find a way to fight or die. He regards her for a long moment, eyes lingering on the bruise forming at her wrist. "Did they hurt you?" he asks quietly. She bristles at the concern in his tone. "Like you care?" His jaw tenses. "I wouldn't have let them be so rough if I'd been there." "Sure," she mutters, voice dripping with scorn. "Let me guess, you prefer to do your own dirty work." Something sparks in his gaze, a glint of anger or challenge. Then it ebbs, replaced by a strange patience. "Sit." He gestures at a wooden chair near the table. She folds her arms, refusing. If he notices, he doesn't push it. "You're probably wondering why I brought you here." She sets her jaw. "I know only that you ordered my abduction. So yes, I'm curious." He nods slowly, as if weighing his words. "I won't lie. I need something from you." A hot spike of dread slams into her gut. He presses on, voice measured. "Our pack has traditions. The Alpha must produce an heir to secure the line, maintain stability. And I need a mate who can birth that heir." Her stomach lurches. She half expected something to do with marriage or forced union, but to hear it said so plainly, like she's a broodmare. She can't form words at first, horror snatching her breath. Then the anger flares white-hot. "You'll never get that from me," she snarls, every muscle tight. "I'd rather die." He studies her face. "You say that now, but we both know fate plays a role in these things." She hates the quiet confidence in his tone. "Fate? Don't throw superstition at me. Let me go." He shakes his head. "That's not possible." She lunges forward, fists raised, half mad with the need to do something, anything. He doesn't move, and she stops a hand's breadth from striking him because something in his eyes warns her that she'll regret it if she lands the blow. Silence hangs between them, thick and pulsing with tension. She forces her arms to drop, chest heaving. "You want me to have your child?" she demands, voice trembling. "Is that it?" His expression doesn't falter. "Yes." His directness stuns her. She stares in disbelief, half waiting for him to laugh, but he remains grave. "I brought you here to become my mate. You'll bear my heir. And in return, you'll have the pack's protection and status." Her rage surges anew. "You talk like I have a choice, but we both know I don't." He says nothing, just holds her stare. She wonders if she can brand him with the sheer force of her hatred. But then a flicker of uncertainty pricks her. Why does he remain so calm? She half expects him to sneer or threaten. Instead, he's giving her room. She steps back, pressing against the edge of the table, her stomach a churning pit. She can't stay silent. I'd sooner cut my own throat than let you use me like some brood animal. He sighs, a low sound that almost carries a note of resignation. I knew this would be difficult for you. Difficult? Her laugh is savage. It's grotesque. I'll never submit. His shoulders tense. For a moment, she sees a flash of something behind his eyes. Hurt, regret, anger. She can't tell. Then it's gone. If you fight, he says at last, I won't harm you. But you'll be confined. Guarded. Is that the life you want? She clamps her jaw shut, refusing to dignify him with an answer. She wonders if she could kill him right here, right now. The table behind her might have a hidden knife. But he's too close, too alert. She can practically feel the lethal power thrumming under his skin. She'd have one shot, and if she fails. He steps away as though sensing her thoughts. Rest. You'll be taken to a better room than the cell you were in. If you need anything, ask the guards stationed outside. She wants to scream that she doesn't want anything from him. Instead, she snarls, let me guess, you're going to lock me up in your fancy suite until I pop out a child? I'm giving you time, he says, ignoring her barb to adjust. Because once you realize what we are to each other, you'll see the sense in all this. She barks a harsh laugh. There is no sense to any of this. You're a tyrant, and I'd rather die than be your broodmare. He stands there quiet. She notices the tension in his jaw, the faint lines bracketing his mouth. Finally, he murmurs, it's not just breeding, Elora. It's fate. From the moment I caught your scent, I knew. She flinches at the word scent. These are wolves, real wolves. They might have all sorts of bizarre instincts and senses. But that doesn't make this any less horrifying. Go to hell, she whispers, her voice shaking. He closes his eyes, takes a slow breath. One day, you'll understand. For now, I won't force you into anything more than staying here. Without another word, he strides to the door, raps twice. The door opens and Devon stands there, glancing between them curiously. Rylan gestures for him to enter, then locks eyes with Elora. You'll be taken to your quarters. Try to rest or don't, but know you won't find a way out easily. And if you harm yourself, I'll consider it a personal affront. She bites back a torrent of insults. He steps out. Devon waits, his expression unreadable, and then gestures for her to follow him again. Elora grips the edge of the table, panting. The hatred inside her is a living thing, roaring for violence. But she can't do anything now. She can only survive, bide her time. Wait for a mistake. She spins on her heel and goes with Devon, fists clenched so tight her nails cut into her palms. The corridor feels like it's closing in, each torch casting leering shadows. She's guided up a flight of stairs, down a hallway adorned with tapestries of wolves and forests, until they reach a stout wooden door. Devon unlocks it, pushes it open, and she's surprised to see a modestly furnished room, a real bed, a small table, a wash basin. No sign of bars or manacles. Food will be brought, Devon says. We'll have guards posted outside. Don't try anything foolish. She wants to lunge at him, but her limbs tremble with exhaustion. Instead, she musters a glare. I'm not your prisoner, she hisses. His mouth quirks. You sure look like one. Then he steps out, locking the door behind him. Elora stands in the center of the room, breathing fast, tears threatening at the edges of her eyes. She hates that her body wants to betray her like this, hates the flood of fear and anger that tangles in her chest. She can't let them see her cry. She refuses to be that weak. She crosses the room, Tests the window shutters, barred from the outside. Of course. She scans the bed for anything that could be turned into a weapon. The table, the wash basin, everything is too solid to break easily. She paces, each pass fueling her fury. The alpha wants an heir. He expects her to accept it. She thinks of her home, how she left behind her grandmother's final gift, the silver pendant she wore every day. Now it's probably lying on the cottage floor, knocked aside in the scuffle. And these wolves dared to take her for their own twisted purpose? She stares at the door, mind churning with escape scenarios. Maybe she can feign illness, lure a guard inside, snatch his weapon. Maybe she can pry the bars off the window if she finds something to use as a lever. She has no illusions. It won't be easy. But she'll kill Rylan if she must. She's already decided. She'll do whatever it takes to break free. She's so lost in the swirl of anger that she almost doesn't notice how the room smells faintly of pine and cold winter nights. A trace of him, perhaps. Her nose wrinkles. She hates the savage tingle that runs up her spine. She tries to dismiss it, but an ugly thought creeps in. He's not physically repulsive. If she were blind to the circumstances, would she find him attractive? She shakes her head violently. No, she can't think like that. He's a monster, a captor. She sets her jaw, reaffirming her vow. She will endure until the time is right. She will observe every pattern of the guards, test every lock. Then she'll make her move. When she finally collapses on the bed, it's from sheer exhaustion. Sleep slips over her like a suffocating blanket, riddled with nightmares of snarling wolves, glowing eyes, and a voice telling her she belongs to him. She wakes gasping in the darkness, the torch outside her door casting flickers beneath the threshold. Her heart feels hollow. She can still hear Rylan's words. I knew you were mine from the moment I caught your scent. She clamps a hand over her mouth, fighting back tears. Maybe if she can fool him into thinking she's compliant, he'll relax security. Then she can strike. Or maybe she can manipulate his beta or one of the lesser wolves. She's no stranger to cunning. She taught herself how to hunt and trap when times were dire. She can do this. She just needs patience. Her stomach growls, reminding her it's been hours since she last ate. She checks the door, locked tight. No one has brought food. Maybe they mean to starve her into obedience. Fine. She won't give them the satisfaction of groveling. She steels herself, paces again, trying to keep her mind sharp. She can't let hopelessness seep in. Time drags. Eventually, footsteps approach, the clatter of metal, someone carrying a tray. Elora stands at the far side, arms crossed. The door opens a crack, a plate and a cup set inside, then the guard withdraws, locking the door immediately. She eyes the tray with suspicion, half expecting it to be poisoned. But no, they need her alive. She takes a few tentative bites. Bland stew, bread, water, enough to keep her going. After eating, she feels a spark of energy. She checks the window again. Dawn must be near, judging by the faint gray creeping into the sky. She wonders if the alpha is sleeping in some grand chamber. If she had a knife, could she creep in and slit his throat while he's unaware? The thought sends a dark thrill through her. But for now, it remains a fantasy. She's locked in a decently appointed cage. I wanted to see how you were settling in, he says, voice low. She snorts. You mean how your captive is doing in her cage? His jaw tightens. You're not in a dungeon. You have a real room, comforts, food. That's more than many outsiders get. She meets his eyes, dripping disdain. I suppose I should be grateful for your generosity? He sighs. Let's not circle the same argument. I know you hate being here, but you'll come around. The bond we share. She laughs bitterly. Bond? Don't try to sweeten the fact you want my womb for your heir. His eyes darken, but he holds whatever retort he had. Instead, he crosses his arms as though containing his frustration. Believe it or not, I didn't choose you at random. I told you it's fate. She steps closer, ignoring the flutter in her chest. I don't believe in fate. All I know is you kidnapped me. You forced me here, threaten me with consequences if I don't become your breeder. Her voice shakes with anger. You're a monster. Something flickers in his gaze, pain, maybe. I may be many things, but I'm not a liar. Your presence here is destined. You can deny it all you want. She clenches her fists. You know nothing about me. I should kill you and free myself. Try if you must. He doesn't flinch. But your success is unlikely. She glances around, quickly spotting no obvious weapon. Even if she had one, she senses he's faster, stronger. The knowledge fuels her rage. One day, I'll catch you off guard, she promises, voice trembling. He exhales a slow breath. That day won't come. Because deep down, you feel it too. She hates that her heart flutters at his words, hates that her body reacts in any way to him. She spits, I feel nothing but disgust. His mouth tightens. For a long beat, neither speaks. Then he gestures to a small chair near the desk. Sit. You're shaking. It won't do if you faint from sheer stubbornness. She almost wants to do the opposite just to defy him, but her legs do feel weak. She perches on the edge of the chair, arms crossed. He watches her for a moment, then turns, rummaging through some scrolls on his desk. She wonders if he's intentionally giving her a chance to observe the room, to see the maps pinned to the wall, a large territory with marked borders. Rival packs, maybe. She files away the details. I meant what I said, he says quietly, not looking at her. No one here will harm you. You're protected. That's how it works with a fated mate. She narrows her eyes. Your pack fears you. They follow you because you're savage. If they discovered I'm not the obedient mate you want, how long before they turn on me? He sets down a scroll, meets her gaze. They won't dare. I'm savage, yes, but I'm also the alpha. My word is final. If I say you're to be guarded, you will be. No one will touch you without consequence. The finality in his tone rattles her. So much power in one man's hands. She sits there, seething, wishing she could conjure a blade. He steps closer, close enough that she catches the faint scent of pine and something distinctly him. She stiffens, forcing herself not to recoil. I don't expect you to like me, he murmurs. But perhaps we can find common ground. If you accept your place, I can give you privileges, autonomy, within reason. She grits her teeth. You're delusional if you think I'll ever cooperate. I told you I'd rather die. He exhales, tension humming in the air. We'll see. A pause. I'll have them show you around the territory, eventually. In your current mood, I doubt you'd appreciate the gesture. But it's your right to know your new home. Her stomach twists. This isn't my home. It never will be. She stands abruptly, ignoring her trembling limbs. Are we done here? He hesitates, something unreadable flickering across his face. Yes, he says finally. I'll send Devin to escort you back. She doesn't wait for Devin. She storms to the door, yanks it open, startling the guards stationed outside. The guard makes a motion to stop her, but she gives him a blistering glare, and he steps aside. She strides down the corridor, half lost, but her anger propels her. Another guard intercepts her at a corner, guiding her back to that same room. She enters it, letting the door slam behind her. She hears the key turn, but she doesn't care. Let them lock her in again. She can't stand being near Rylan another second. Her breath shudders. She hates that spark she felt in there, the electric tension whenever he looked at her. She hates him for kidnapping her, for claiming there's some fated mate bond, for using her like a broodmare. She hates the whole twisted fortress. She vows to kill him if that's what it takes to break free. But as she paces, her mind replays the brief moments of strange emotion in his eyes. Could he truly believe this fun nonsense? She curses under her breath. It doesn't matter. She's a prisoner, he's the captor, and the only outcome she can accept is her escape or his death. Night falls again. She ignores the food they bring, stewing in her fury until exhaustion claims her. Sleep is a chaotic blur of nightmares. She sees Ryland's eyes, dark, intense, looming in every shadow. She jolts awake with a ragged gasp. The next day dawns the same as before. Locked door, watchful guards, no chance to slip away. She wonders if she'll be stuck here forever, losing track of days and nights, until she finally succumbs to his demands. No, she won't let that happen. She goes to the window again, checks the bars, the shutters, the mortar around them. Everything is sturdy, built to keep out the strongest wolves. She tries the simplest approach, tugging at the iron rods, but they don't budge. Her arms burn with the effort, and she collapses on the bed, panting. She needs a plan. She decides to watch, to learn the guard rotation. She begs a guard for a wash basin refill, times how long it takes him to return. She notes every footstep, every routine. By midday, she has a partial sense of the pattern. Maybe at midnight, there's a changing of shifts. She can try something then, maybe fake illness to draw the guard in. Once he's inside, she could smash his skull with the heavy wash basin. It's grim, but she's not naive. This is survival. She thinks about it for hours, refining each step. She might have a chance if she can slip out into the corridor, steal keys, maybe find a way to the courtyard. But there's the question of the fortress walls, how to get beyond them. She'll need a horse or have to scale the ramparts. That might be impossible alone. But maybe if she can get a blade and hold it to a guard's throat, force him to lead her out. Her mind churns. Her chest feels tight, the weight of captivity pressing down like a heavy cloak. She pictures Ryland in his chamber, probably planning the next step in his twisted agenda. The thought stokes her hatred to new heights. She almost hopes she sees him again soon, so she can gauge the best angle to strike. Her vengeance steals her, giving her something to cling to. That evening, footsteps approach again. She hears muffled voices outside the door, but no one enters. Frustration gnaws at her. She paces, half expecting to be summoned. When no one comes, she wonders if Ryland is punishing her with isolation. Fine, she'll endure. She refuses to break. At some point near midnight, she dozes off, only to awaken at the sound of the lock turning. She bolts upright, hair sticking to her cheek. The door opens, and the older wolf from the carriage stands there, the scar on his jaw catching the torchlight. He beckons her, voice low. The alpha wants you now. Her stomach clenches. Another confrontation. Maybe this is it, her chance. She nods and follows, every nerve on edge. They lead her through a different hallway, deeper into the fortress. She recognizes none of the landmarks. Eventually, they stop at a small antechamber with heavy drapes. The older wolf shoves the drapes aside, revealing a large wooden door. He knocks. Ryland's voice calls from inside, "Bring her." Ellora's heart thuds. She steels herself for another tense battle of words, maybe an outright attempt on his life. She imagines lunging the moment she sees him, going for his throat. The older wolf pushes open the door, and she steps into a candlelit room with a massive hearth, the fire crackling. There's a table with maps again, but also a large bed against the far wall, draped in dark furs. Her pulse jumps at the sight. Ryland stands by the hearth, arms folded. He dismisses the older wolf with a curt nod. The door closes, leaving them alone again. His gaze flicks over her, noticing her tense posture. She opens her mouth to spit some insult, but he speaks first, voice hushed, almost resigned. I can't keep you locked away like this forever, so I've decided you should see more of the territory. With me. She scowls. You want me to join you on a stroll as if we're friends? I want you to understand why I need you. And maybe, just maybe, you'll stop thinking of me as a monster. She steps closer, tension crackling in the space between them. You keep calling it need, but all I see is a forced claim. You want me to bear your child. His jaw twitches. I won't deny it. But if you allow yourself to sense the bond. She snarls, fists tight at her sides. I don't feel any bond. I feel hatred. His gaze flickers, and for a second, she's almost certain she glimpses hurt in his eyes. He hides it quickly. In that case, you have nothing to lose by accompanying me. Tomorrow morning. Be ready. She crosses her arms, letting out a cold laugh. And if I say no? His shoulders slump a fraction. Then you stay locked in your room. A beat. But I'd rather you come. It's the only way we stand a chance of moving forward. Moving forward. As if she'd ever want to move forward with him. But she recalls her plan. Being out of her room might give her an opportunity. She could run, or at least see the layout. She forces a sneer. Fine. I'll humor you. But don't expect me to act docile. He lifts his chin. I'd never expect docility from you, Elora. Something in the way he says her name makes her heart lurch. She hates him for it. She drags her gaze away from his face and notices the bed behind him, her stomach twisting at the implication. She squares her shoulders. Is that all? He nods. I'll have them bring you back to your room. Rest. She steps backward, never letting him out of her sight. One day, she'll end him, she reminds herself. Then she turns, throws open the door, and leaves before he can say another word. In the corridor, the older wolf falls into step behind her, leading her back to that same locked room. Once inside, she exhales shakily, adrenaline singing in her veins. Tomorrow might be her chance. If they take her outside, she can scout for weaknesses, maybe break away. She's no stranger to speed. She might outrun a few guards if she finds the right moment. And if Rylan tries to keep her close, she can watch him, look for that opening to strike. She glares at the bed, mind buzzing with the memory of the large furs in his chamber. He probably thinks he can woo her into compliance. She snorts. Let him try. She'll kill him first. That vow settles in her gut, a dark anchor. She welcomes it, letting the anger guide her. She sits by the window, stares at the moon through the bars, plotting 1,000 ways to end the savage alpha's life. If he truly believes in some fated mate bond, it will be his downfall. She'll use his misguided patience against him. She'll gain his trust just enough to strike. She slides her hand along the shutter's frame, testing again for any weakness. None. Her reflection in the glass shows a woman with eyes alight with fury. She breathes out, thinking of home, of the life she lost in the space of a single night. Bitterness spreads through her, fueling the fires of her hatred for Rylan. He took everything from her, her freedom, her sense of safety, her future. Quietly, she mutters into the silence, "You'll regret choosing me. I swear it." Outside, the moon drifts behind a cloud, plunging the courtyard into darkness. She imagines Rylan in his chamber, strong arms folded, maybe staring at the same moon, convinced that fate ties them together. She closes her eyes, forcing herself to remain calm. Let him believe in destiny. She believes in vengeance. And tomorrow, she'll take the first step toward making it a reality. When dawn breaks, she'll be ready. Elora wakes at dawn to find Rylan waiting outside her door, flanked by 2 guards. She greets them with a glare, arms folded tight across her chest. They say nothing, only lead her to the courtyard. A crisp morning wind bites at her cheeks. She notices the fortress is already alive, wolves training, patrolling, hauling supplies. Her mind scours every detail for an escape route. The western gate appears less guarded. The walls have watchtowers placed at intervals. If she times it right. Rylan, standing by a pair of horses, breaks her focus. He inclines his head, a half-greeting she doesn't return. She'd rather steal one of these mounts than ride beside him. Except she knows the moment she tries, 6 wolves will be on her before she can mount up. She forces her face into a mask of cold indifference. He hands the reins of a chocolate-brown mare to her. We're riding out. If you behave, I won't bind your hands. She snorts. Behave? The nerve of him. But she keeps silent otherwise. If it gets her outside these walls, she'll endure the indignity for now. He mounts his own horse with fluid grace, motioning for her to do the same. She hesitates, fully aware of the guards around them, watchful and armed. She wants to lash out, but the memory of every failed attempt holds her back. She swings onto the mare, settling in the saddle. She's an able rider. Despite the rough life at her village, she learned to handle a horse from a neighboring farmer. Rylan leads her toward the gates, which groan open. A prickle of hope flickers in her chest. She's leaving the fortress, if only for a while. Maybe this is how she'll find her chance. She meets the stony faces of the guards, who nod at Rylan in deference. Then they're beyond the walls, riding into a wide stretch of forest. The sun filters through pines, the morning dew catching bits of light. It's almost peaceful, if not for the tension coiled in Elora's gut. Neither of them speaks for a time. Rylan keeps an even pace, glancing back to ensure she's following. She thinks about spurring her mare, trying to outrun him, but the sight of watchful scouts posted at intervals dissuades her. She spots them crouched behind trees or perched on branches, scanning the woods. This territory is riddled with loyal wolves. A single call from Rylan, and they'd descend on her. Her frustration grows. They reach a clearing with a rocky outcrop that overlooks a swift-moving river. Rylan dismounts, ties his horse to a low branch. Elora mirrors him, though her every instinct screams to jump on the mare and flee. He'd catch her in seconds. Her nails bite into her palms as she follows him up a short path. At the top, the view is striking, towering pines, a silver ribbon of water cutting through the land, mist hovering over the treetops. This place, he says quietly, is where I come to think. She stands at a distance. Wonderful, she mutters. You dragged me outside so I could watch you stare at trees? A flicker of annoyance crosses his face, then it fades. I brought you so you'd understand what I'm protecting. Why the pack matters. He gestures at the forest sprawling in every direction. This territory. These wolves. They're my responsibility. She lets out a low laugh, unamused. I've heard the rumors. You rule through fear. The only reason they follow you is that they're too scared to challenge you. His jaw tenses. Fear is part of it. Respect is another. But they follow because they have no one else. My father's line died out, and I'm all that remains. She picks up on the note of bitterness. So he inherited this savage mantle. She wants to sneer, but something tugs at her curiosity, perhaps. Instead, she waves a dismissive hand. So you want me to pity you? Because your father died and left you with a big territory. He turns to her, eyes shadowed. I don't want pity. I want an heir. And I want that heir with you. The bluntness stings. She lashes out before she can stop herself. I'd sooner throw myself into that river. His gaze flicks to the rushing water. For a moment, she wonders if he's imagining her doing exactly that. Then he exhales, turning away. We'll head back soon. But first, I want you to ride the border with me. You'll see how precarious our hold is. Rival packs test us regularly. If they sense weakness, they'll invade, she finishes sarcastically. Touching story. Am I supposed to feel patriotic about defending your home? His eyes narrow. Our home, he corrects softly, and your life as well. If they invade, you'd be taken or worse. You think they'll treat you better? At least with me, you're safe. She stiffens. I was safe in my village until your men dragged me away. Don't act like you're my savior. He doesn't reply, instead marching back to the horses. She follows, face burning with anger. Yet a niggling voice in her mind wonders if the rival packs truly are that ruthless. Could they be worse than Rylan? She shakes off the thought. She has a plan. She'll escape eventually, no matter who threatens whom. They remount and continue deeper into the forest. He shows her border markers, tall, carved posts, reeking of wolf scent. She wrinkles her nose. The entire time, she scans the undergrowth for an opening. Perhaps she could slip away if she dismounted and dashed into the trees. But scouts lurk everywhere, and Rylan never strays more than a stride from her side. Even if she did outrun him momentarily, a single howl would bring the entire pack crashing down. Her frustration builds with each failure. She sets her jaw, refusing to ask questions or feign interest. Let him see her scorn. He explains something about the southwestern corner being prone to intruders, how they lost warriors last winter to a vicious raid. She tries not to listen, but scraps of information stick in her head. Rylan's father was killed in that raid, leaving Rylan to ascend as alpha sooner than expected. Eventually, they return to the fortress. She expects to be locked away again, but to her surprise, Rylan leads her to an outdoor training ring. Wolves spar with wooden weapons, practicing forms. Some stop to gawk at her. She lifts her chin, meeting their stares with a defiant glare. Let them gape. She's nobody's Luna. This is where we practice, Rylan says, dismounting. If you want to keep your skills sharp, you can train here under supervision. She slides off her horse, trying to hide how sore her muscles are from tension. Is that an invitation or an order? He shrugs. Does it matter? I'm giving you the option. She narrows her eyes. What if I refuse? He gestures at her with mild exasperation. Then you can lounge in your quarters, letting your muscles rot. Or you can learn how to fight on our terms. She bristles at the idea of fighting on their terms, but a spark of interest flares. If she trains with them, maybe she can glean more about their tactics, find potential weaknesses. She pretends to be unimpressed, giving a non-committal shrug. Fine, I might train. But I pick who teaches me. His mouth quirks. Bold. But all right. I'll assign someone capable. She frowns. I said I pick. He raises a hand. You don't know who's who. Let me set you up with one of my best. Devin, perhaps. She grimaces at the mention of that beta with the cunning eyes, but her nod is sharp. I'll consider it. Don't expect me to sing praises for the lesson. He meets her glare with steady calm. I expect you to do whatever helps you sleep at night. She stiffens, not entirely sure what that means. Then Rylan steps aside to speak with a group of wolves watching them. Elora notices their curious glances, some even borderline hostile. She hears murmurs. So that's the alphas chosen? She doesn't look that special. She's too scrawny. Another voice, but he seems protective of her. She's lucky. Yet another, if she's our future Luna, she should act like it. She clutches the reins of her horse, jaw tight. They see her as some prospective Luna, but she wants no part of it. She wants them all to vanish, including Rylan. Her resentment spikes, fueling her next thought. Maybe, in a quiet moment, she can steal a weapon from the training ring. They store them somewhere. Her mind flits from idea to idea, but Ryland's presence is never far. She can't risk it now. He finishes talking and returns, eyes traveling over her face. She sets her lips in a stubborn line. Done parading me around? He nods once, apparently unoffended. Come. You're probably hungry. She hates to admit her stomach is indeed growling. She's had little appetite since arriving, but her body is betraying her. Fine. She'll eat. She needs energy to attempt a real escape. She follows him inside, tension swirling like a storm. Wolves step aside in the corridors, bowing heads to Rylan, throwing sideways glances at Elora. She feels the weight of their expectations. Future Luna, indeed. They reach a spacious dining hall with a long table. A handful of wolves eat there, but at Rylan's entrance, they murmur greetings and retreat. Elora stiffens at the display of power. Rylan waves her toward a seat near the table's head, and she sits, warily eyeing the meager spread of meat, bread, and fruit. Eat, he says, pouring water from a jug into a wooden cup. I'm sure your appetite is better than you let on. She eyes him sidelong, hating how he's correct. She takes a piece of bread, forcing herself not to scarf it down. Even though bitterness chokes her, her body demands fuel. He sets the cup before her, then takes the seat at the head of the table, watching her. The scrutiny makes her skin prickle. She decides to break the silence. I noticed your wolves eyeing me like I'm a curiosity. Are they not used to seeing you with guests? He exhales softly. They know I brought you here by force. Some disapprove. Others hope you'll become the Luna they need. She scoffs. They can keep hoping. I have no intention of ruling at your side. He meets her eyes, gaze unwavering. You say that, but the bond changes everything. Again with this bond. She tries to conjure anger, but a small sliver of her wonders about the strange pull she sometimes feels around him, like a magnet scraping her nerves. She quickly smothers the thought, taking a sip of water to cover her discomfort. She sets the cup down with more force than necessary. Stop talking about this bond. You keep using that word like some magical solution to your tyranny. He looks away, tension radiating from his posture. Believe what you want. I've told you the truth. She clamps her jaw shut. If she continues this line of argument, she might lose her composure. Instead, she changes the topic. You said I could train with Devon. Fine. When does that start? A spark of relief flickers in his eyes at her shift. Tomorrow morning. Meet him in the courtyard after breakfast. She nods curtly, finishing her bread. You'd better keep your promise. I don't need another day of being locked away. His lips thin. You have my word. She almost laughs at the idea of trusting him, but she remains silent. When she's done, she pushes back her chair, eager to leave. Rylan stands too, as if to guide her. She scowls but follows him back to her quarters. The door is unlocked, though a guard stands posted. He motions her inside, and she enters, turning to face him. He hesitates. If you need anything. She snorts. I need my freedom. You can't give me that. He dips his head. Rest, then. He steps back, the guard closes the door, and the lock clicks. She's alone, again. At least the room is more furnished now. Someone brought an extra blanket and a small chest of clothes. The sight of them rankles her pride. She wants to fling them out the window, but she's too practical to reject the warmth. She paces, restless. Each time she's near him, she feels this maddening tension. She wants to hate him, yet some traitorous part of her acknowledges the faint gentleness he shows at times. She curses herself for noticing. Hatred is simpler. Hatred fuels her vengeance. Sleep comes fitfully. When morning light spills in, she's up, lacing the borrowed boots, pulling a tunic tight around her waist. This fortress is cold, and she's not about to freeze. She steels herself for the upcoming training session. Maybe she can glean real fighting techniques from Devon and turn them against Rylan. A guard escorts her to the courtyard. Devon waits there, leaning against a post, arms crossed. He gives her a short nod, eyes wary. The Alpha says you want to practice, he says by way of greeting. I want to stay sharp, she corrects. He grunts. Fine. Grab a wooden blade from that rack. She heads to the rack, scanning the weapons. She picks one that feels balanced. Devon selects a staff for himself. He nods her to the center of the courtyard, where a handful of wolves watch with mild curiosity. Elora braces herself, expecting scorn. But Devon's instruction is efficient. He shows her stances, corrects her form. At first, she's too proud to accept his guidance, but she has to admit he knows what he's doing. The wooden sword feels awkward in her grip. She's used to small knives, quick strikes. He explains how to parry, how to pivot, how to exploit an opponent's blind side. She's grudgingly impressed. They go through drills. Sweat beads on her forehead. Wolves passing by slow to watch. Some whisper. She ignores them, focusing on each swing, each block. She tries to memorize Devon's stances, the way he moves. One day, she might replicate them against Rylan. After about an hour, Devon steps back, frowning. You're not bad, he admits. But you fight with anger more than technique. She wipes sweat from her brow. Anger is all I have left. He smirks. Anger can be a weapon or a weakness. The Alpha says you're stubborn. That might keep you alive. His tone is neutral, but she senses a faint respect. She stiffens, refusing to be flattered. Suddenly, a voice behind them. Let me spar with her. It's a younger wolf, broad-shouldered, with a smug grin. Devon grimaces. Elora notices the onlookers perk up, curious to see a match. Devon shakes his head. She's not ready for a free spar. You'll break her. The young wolf snorts. She's the future Luna, right? Let's see if she can hold her own. Elora bristles at the mention of Luna, but the challenge entices her. Maybe if she proves herself, she'll earn a bit more freedom. She levels a stare at the young wolf. I'll spar with you. Devon tries to intervene, but the wolf is already grabbing a wooden sword. Elora steps into position, ignoring Devon's warning scowl. The courtyard hushes. She can sense eyes on them from every corner. The young wolf circles her, stance cocky. She forces her breath steady, remembering Devon's instructions. He lunges, faster than she expects. She barely deflects the blow, wooden blades clacking. Her arms tremble from the impact. The wolf presses in, trying to corner her. She dodges, pivoting on her heel. Her heart pounds. She parries again, the strike jarring her wrists. But her anger flares. She refuses to lose, not with all these wolves judging her. She counters, a clumsy slash that almost connects with his ribs. He lets out a derisive laugh. Not bad for a... She uses his distraction, stepping inside his guard, swinging the hilt toward his midsection. He yelps, stumbling back. A chorus of mutters ripples through the watchers. Emboldened, she presses the attack. But he recovers quickly, hooking her leg with his foot. She loses balance, crashing to the ground. He aims a finishing strike. She scrambles to the side, panting, rolling to regain her footing. He smirks, raising his sword overhead. She braces, anticipating a downward blow. Instead, a loud voice cuts through the air, enough. Rylan stands at the courtyard's edge, flanked by a pair of guards. The young wolf freezes, his expression faltering. Elora doesn't drop her guard. Sweat drips into her eyes. Rylan strides forward, eyes flicking between them. Training, not brawling, he growls at the young wolf, who lowers his weapon hastily. Rylan turns to Elora, an assessing look in his gaze. "Are you hurt?" She scoffs, wiping her mouth. "Nothing I can't handle." The young wolf steps back, clearly chastened. Devin gives him a scowl, then nods to the crowd, sending them scattering. Elora notices tension in the way Rylan holds himself, like he's resisting the urge to yank her away from danger. She stands tall, ignoring the twinge in her ankle from that fall. She wonders if she can provoke him. "Don't pretend you care if I'm injured. You're the one who wants to use me." A muscle in Rylan's jaw flexes. "I care more than you think." He glances at Devin. "Enough for today. Continue tomorrow." Devin bows his head, shooting Elora a sidelong look that might be approval. She can't tell. The courtyard disperses, leaving Rylan and her facing each other. She half expects a reprimand, but he just stares at her, eyes tracing the bruise forming on her forearm. She breaks the silence first. "Satisfied? I got knocked down, so I guess you're reminded how helpless I am." He exhales. "You're not helpless, but your pride endangers you. One day, that could be lethal." She sets her jaw. "It's my life, not yours." Something flickers in his expression, exasperation, maybe. "Until you accept the bond, we're bound to butt heads." She wants to scoff again, but a new wave of anger washes over her. This mention of the bond, the swirl of confusing sensations whenever she's near him. She'd rather cling to her hate than question it. "Let me guess, you want me to come inside for lunch, pretend we're a happy couple?" He shakes his head. "I have duties to attend. Devin or another guard will escort you if you need to eat." She narrows her eyes. "So you're not locking me in my room this time?" His lips twist. "I'll show you a measure of trust if you'll promise not to use the first open window to run." She snorts, glancing around at the watchful wolves. "I wouldn't get far, would I?" He doesn't deny it. "So behave, and perhaps you'll gain more freedom." She hates that word behave, but she nods sharply, turning away before he can see the roiling emotions on her face. The moment she's out of earshot, she lets out a shaky breath. She despises how her pulse leaps whenever he's near. She despises even more that a small, traitorous part of her wonders if there's something behind his stoic gaze besides cold tyranny. Despite her resentment, she recognizes the subtle shifts in her situation. She has more leeway now. She can wander parts of the fortress under watch. Some wolves greet her politely, though others mutter that she's unworthy. Rumors swirl. She catches snippets of conversation. The alpha is too soft on her. She defies him. Another voice. Maybe he sees something we don't. Or she's bewitching him. She ignores the gossip, exploring halls that were once off limits. Everywhere she goes, guards shadow her at a polite distance. She tries to slip away once or twice, ducking around corners or attempting to climb an outer wall, but each time, a guard intercepts her with uncanny speed. The fortress is an iron cage, no matter how big it is. Days pass in a tense routine. She trains with Devin, honing her reflexes, learning the patterns of wolf combat. She observes how his stance differs from the human fighters in her old village. She tries to replicate those moves in private, fantasizing about driving a blade through Rylan's ribs. At night, she's locked in her room, though sometimes the lock remains undone, a small concession to trust, she supposes. She peeks outside, but the corridor is guarded anyway. She has no illusions. Rylan appears sporadically, summoning her to ride along the borders or observe pack meetings. He introduces her, occasionally, as Ellora, never calling her his mate aloud, but the implication is clear. Some wolves nod respectfully, while others keep their distance. She senses the tension, an unspoken question of whether she's truly meant to stand by Ryland's side. In these weeks, her confusion grows. The more time she spends with him, the more glimpses she catches of a man weighed down by responsibility. Once, she overhears him speaking with an older wolf about a supply shortage in the southern villages. His voice is clipped but concerned. Another time, she spies him alone in the courtyard at night, staring at the moon with a haunted expression. She can't shake the idea that maybe he's not all brute force. That doesn't erase her hatred, her captivity hasn't ended. But it does complicate her desire to kill him. She vows to keep the plan alive anyway. She tries escaping 3 times, once scaling a portion of the outer wall in a spot she thought was lightly patrolled. Wolves caught her halfway up, dragging her back. Another time, she nearly convinced a guard that she needed to see the village outside the walls for pack business. He refused at the last moment, suspicious. The third attempt is bolder. She snatches a small knife from a training session and confronts Ryland in a dim corridor, pressing the blade to his throat while his guards are out of sight. She can still feel the heat of his skin against her forearm, the hush of his breath when she whispered, "Release me or I'll cut you." But he didn't flinch, not even a blink. Instead, he carefully pried the blade from her grip with inhuman reflexes, disarmed her, and pinned her wrists without so much as a bruise. She'd spat in his face, expecting rage, a beating, even death. But he just tightened security again, refusing to punish her beyond restricting her movements for a day. The memory rankles. She doesn't understand why he never strikes back. She starts to see a pattern. Whenever she crosses a line, he doesn't lash out. He simply steps in, de-escalates, locks her up if needed, then lets it go. It's maddening. Her frustration simmers, overshadowed by a grudging confusion. If he's savage, why isn't he punishing her attempts to kill him? One evening, she's in the courtyard, finishing a late training session with Devin. She overhears a low argument near the barracks. She peers around the corner. The speaker is the beta from day 1, Devin, and he's talking to Ryland in hushed, tense tones. "She's a threat," Devin says, voice taut. Every day, she tries something new. The guards are tired of chasing her. "We can't keep giving her chances." Ryland's tone is calm but firm. "She's my mate. I won't see her harmed." Devin presses, "For how long will you indulge her rebellion?" The pack murmurs that you're weak, letting her flaunt your authority. Ellora bristles. She doesn't want to be the cause of talk about Ryland's weakness, but at the same time, it's exactly what she wants, him overthrown so she can slip away. She inches closer. Ryland's voice drops. "I'll handle it." She needs time. If the pack tries to corner her, they'll regret it. A short silence. Devin sighs. "You're risking everything. If you can't curb her defiance, some will see an opening to challenge you." Ryland's shoulders tense. "Let them try. I won't use force against her, not if I can avoid it." The intensity of his words rattles Ellora. She expects cruelty, not this unwavering protectiveness. Devin lowers his voice even more, and she barely catches the final words. "Then may the moon guide you, Alpha. But I fear your mercy might be your undoing." Ryland says nothing. Devin stalks off. Ellora slips back behind the corner, heart thudding. So the beta wants Ryland to force her compliance or eliminate her. And Ryland refuses. She's not sure why that knot of tension loosens in her chest. She wonders if it's a trick, but the sincerity in his tone seemed real. She returns to her quarters, mind swirling. She hates the fortress, hates being captive, Yet she can't deny she's safer than if the beta had his way. She doesn't sleep well, haunted by the notion that Ryland's refusal to harm her might be fueling resentment in his pack. If they turn on him, a full-blown conflict could erupt, and she'll be caught in the crossfire.